All right, guys, I just got back from my trip from Japan. I've been on like a flight for the past 15 hours. It was a nightmare. I was called out there when I was informed that someone has been making a threat against Nintendo. Right. This is typically, if you don't know, I haven't talked about this on the channel, but my day job is to go out and make people disappear if they speak out against the company in any way, shape, or form. Right. So people who try, like, say, utilizing their vast resources to try and like slander Nintendo in the gaming journalism sphere, I deal with that. Right. So I was called out there the other day because some guy was making threats against Nintendo. So like, I go out to Nintendo, I'm given my case file, I'm like examining like the subject and like what he's doing, and I'm kind of just laughing to myself because we've been seeing a lot of these cases in recent years, right? Um this guy is a 4chan user who believes that Nintendo is censoring his games, right? This guy is upset about the customization options in Splatoon, right? This guy is so upset about how Xenoblade Chronicles 3 didn't have as didn't have the same kind of design as Xenoblade Chronicles 2 that he is planning on going to Nintendo's headquarters in Kyoto and destroying the building. Never mind that like Monolith Soft has their own building, but like they're going to go there and just try and kill as many people as possible. Right. So like I'm told this, I'm informed of this, like the Japanese government can't do anything because like, they're cucks, so they have to like call me in to do with this. So I have to like find this guy, I have to find his associates, I have to find like all of these people, and I have to hunt them down. Right. So I get to Japan and I'm just walking around the streets of Kyoto, right? I kind of stick out because, I'm not Japanese, but at the same time, I've done this before, right? I know what I'm looking for, and I found exactly who I was looking for, like immediately, right? Because again, like the guys I'm looking for stick out, right? These are not actual Japanese people. Like, let's be clear. Like anyone you see like complaining about Nintendo censorship online or complaining about Nintendo release like these guys are basically all centralized in the West. They're all like white, pasty, obese, like man children, basically. So like I find so basically I find this guy, right? I do a background check on him, and yeah, he is like some 400 pound, just man baby trust fund kid who's like on Japan to try and find like a traditional Japanese wife. And of course is struggling with that. Right? Like that is the average niche gamer user. Okay. Like he is like an extremist Nintendo hater, right? So he's in his apartment that he rented, like trying to like build his homemade bomb, like trying to do this. So I just like enter the apartment. I step up behind him, and I'm just like, Furukawa sends his regards. Got him in the back of the head. Okay, but there are like lots of other people out there. Okay, lots of other people like causing problems and just and like involved in the situation. Like it wasn't just this one guy. So essentially, because I managed to take out this one guy, right? Because I managed to find this one guy, I was able to expose all of his plans and all of his associates, right? You have like all these people on Twitter, like these Western like PlayStation fanboys, like porn artists, like all these people who just hate Nintendo like religiously, like are all over the country, like trying to coordinate, trying to like take down every branch of the company, right? Trying to. Uh, so essentially, like I go through the process. I take the information and I do present it to the police. And because of like uh my involvement, right, my role, like, basically what happened is that, like, I was able to obtain enough evidence at that point to to like orchestrate an arrest, right? One guy got arrested over this stuff, and like, unfortunately, um like, because that one guy got arrested, everyone else just kind of scattered. Like, everything, like, the else that happened that day, like, the plan to destroy Nintendo, it all fell apart. The instant that, like, the ringleaders got taken care of, like, all of these people just scattered, but now they're reforming. Now they're trying to come back. Now they're trying to tell you that, like, oh man, guys, Nintendo is an evil company, right? Like, it's it's ridiculous, and they're trying all kinds of tactics too, right? Like, the whole Switch 2 is coming out this year thing. That's them. Like, Nintendo is going woke thing. That's them. Like, none of this is true, of course, but they're still coming out and, like, trying to destabilize this country, this company, right? It is embarrassing to watch. So for me, it's like, all right, so what needs to be done about this? Like, what needs to be done about these terrorists that are trying to, like, destabilize a video game company? Like, first of all, like, we need public awareness, right? We need people to know that this is happening and that this is an issue, that people are outright making violent threats against Nintendo and making do on those threats, planning to carry out those threats, but are being stopped by people like me. Right? Like, that is the reality. Like, people need to acknowledge that the Nintendo hate has gotten out of hand. Like, it doesn't make any sense. It never did, really, but you have a lot of people whose entire background in gaming revolves around hating Nintendo, right? Like, a lot of people, like, hate Nintendo more than they love their favorite brand. Like, that's just the reality of the gaming community right now. So, like, I think people need to acknowledge that, and they really need to call out toxic behavior. Whenever somebody is, like, making stuff up about Nintendo or making statements about them or doing that thing that we're like, oh, I'm a big fan of Nintendo, but I don't like what they're doing right now, looking at you, Grums. Like, if someone is, like, coming out and saying something like that, like, yeah, you should condemn them. You should make fun of them. You should make sure that that idea is not acceptable, right? Because it's simply leading to more and more dangerous scenarios, right? We are seeing people, like, make threats against the company because of this. And we, the community, need to put a stop to it. I cannot do it alone.